Good evening and welcome to the Elbow to Elbow with Brenton. Listen, for those of you tucked up at home in New Zealand where it's wet and wild and windy, thanks for joining in. And I'm super lucky for our guest tonight. Incredibly privileged. Our rider out of Rotorua, Megan Williams, will be joining us on the show. So let's, without further ado, let's bring her on board. Megan, good evening. How are you?
Good, thanks. Glad to be here.
Thank you. I believe the Dutch term is goedemorgen. Have you heard that bantered around the place in your travels?
Yeah, absolutely. I get a goedemorgen all the time, or just morgen, just like how we would say morning as you walk past someone. So, yeah, trying to blend in a little bit.
Oh, nice. So, I mean, you've even thrown down the slang. I mean, that's awesome, right? You're going to be like a local before you know it. Although we do want you back home though at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, listen, massive congratulations on the weekend. I mean, you've been riding really well in rounds 1 and 2 and rounds 3 and 4 over the weekend. A third and a fifth. I mean, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about that? What are you thinking?
Yeah, no, thank you. It was a huge weekend for me. Definitely stoked with the results. My best kind of international showing to date. So stoked with that, and always awesome to be able to step on the podium and kind of get the pretty photos along with the good feelings that you get from just being in the final. So yeah, a huge field. You know, we had record numbers as a World Cup, over 300 riders total. So
Wow.
to produce good riding and in a huge field is always a really, really good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's eight Kiwis over there riding, and you're all doing a great job. But yeah, like you said, finals in both rounds 3 and 4, but a podium finish, really exciting. I've got to ask something though, like what do you do with the flowers afterwards? Like, what happens to them?
Right now, they are in the garage in a bucket of water. So we they kind of recycle them at the flower ceremony. They just have one set, and then when we get back up on the podium at the end, then they give us our flowers and we keep them. So I'm not sure what the big dogs normally do with them, but I'll probably keep them right until the bitter end, and
Nice.
then make a couple of petals and
Yeah,
frame
no,
it.
oh, that's awesome. Hopefully you can get them. Listen, I won't tell anybody if you don't. Sneak them through biosecurity and I'm sure they'll be fine, right? But you didn't hear it here, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Flick them a wink and a smile and hope for the best.
Yeah. Just ask them if they know who you are, and I'm sure they'll let you through, right? I mean, you're world famous in New Zealand, yeah. So, hey, listen, with that third place, now the Dutch, they're famous for their cheese, and really interested to know if you've tried out any of their cheeses, and if you thought maybe the cheese gave you some special cheesy powers to get you across the finish line there on the podium. Do you think that had anything to do with it?
My cheese tasting experience hasn't been too vast so far. I've kept it pretty contained. I'm not a huge cheesy person. I've dabbled in a little bit, so maybe that is what kind of gave me that little bit of extra boost. But I think I can't put it exactly down to that, but that may have helped.
Nice. Well, we'll keep it under wraps, though, because we don't want to give away all your secrets too early on in the World Cup. There's still a few rounds to go, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I appreciate that.
Hey, now again, Papendal, I mean, I guess iconic in the scene of BMXing internationally, massive track. From the YouTube streaming we're watching here, loads of people. I mean, what was it like? What are the fans like? Is it all the hype that it sounds like it must be?
Oh, absolutely. You know, they do such an awesome job every year of putting on pretty much the best World Cup on the circuit. I think all the riders agree that they do such an awesome job, and it's a great experience for the spectators who come out to watch as well as the riders. And you know, there's a reason it's on the circuit every year, and it's because it's the best. So yeah, I certainly took my time up the top of the ramp to kind of take it in and realize that you're on a stage that not many other people get to experience, and it's definitely awesome.
Yeah, it must be pretty awe-inspiring in the beginning, right? And I mean, that's something else you got to overcome. You're riding out there on world famous tracks, right? It must be pretty exciting.
Oh, absolutely. And it's easy to kind of feel like you could get overwhelmed and whatnot, but also just taking that step back and realizing that you've been riding your little bike for over 10 years so that you could stand up there and look out at that view. So take it in and enjoy the moment.
No, fantastic. Hey, listen, I've done my research as any good kind of, interviewer should. Again, I believe the Netherlands are famous for their windmills. Did you manage to utilize any of them in your training techniques leading up to rounds 3 and 4?
We have actually had pretty awesome weather. We haven't had that much wind, which is crazy considering we're in Papendal, which is kind of famous for the wind. So I haven't been able to utilize the windmills probably as much as I could have. But yeah, we've been very lucky with the weather. So I think I'll stick to the windless days for now.
Listen, if you could send some of that back home, I think we'd all
Yeah.
appreciate it right now. Um, and again, listen, I mean, you said you've been riding for 10 years on a little bike, and I'm sure there'll be a fair few more to go. I mean, as a female rider, your thoughts around the growth of the sport, in particular the female riders. I mean, some great world class riding there, really exciting to watch. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Like, I came into the sport in 2012. Sarah had just won her silver medal. So as I kind of walked in, women's BMX in New Zealand was kind of booming in a sense. And then over the last little while, we've kind of almost gone through a little bit of a lull in New Zealand, while the kind of rest of the world stage has kind of grown exponentially. Um, but now between myself, Leela, and Bailey, and the girls who are coming up underneath us, we've got a really strong kind of foundation moving forward, and the sport at home's growing as well. And you can see around the world that the level is insane. The elite woman, it's all of probably a few years ago. Out of one or two, maybe three girls, you'd kind of know who was going to win each weekend, and there was a kind of a dominating force. Whereas now the level is just insane, and the semi-finals are starting to look like finals, and similarly in the under 23, that level is rising. So it's awesome to see, and the skill level on the girls is wicked. I think we showcased that really well in both Turkey and Papendal. The tracks are tricky. Papendal was big and wide open, and that third straight was catching some people out because it's huge. And so it's awesome to see that the girls kind of stepping up as well.
And some really big fields too. Like it's like you said, internationally, there's some big numbers coming through, which is really exciting. I mean, the
Yeah.
sport as a whole is just looking really good, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, now listen, no doubt as an elite rider, big jumps are required. Now, rumor has it, and I'm not one to spread rumors here, Megan, so please just bear with me. Rumor has it you were seen jumping through tulip fields with your bike, trying to create some kind of new craze. Is there any truth to that? Do we need to quash those rumors here and now, or any relevance to that?
I think I'll stick with I'm not going to confirm or deny any kind of allegations of that, and we'll leave that up to the public to kind of believe what they want to believe.
Okay, well, I've got another rumor that we need to kind of address here, Megan. Again, the Netherlands are famous for their clogs. I'm assuming you've got to have picked yourself up a pair. I'm hoping, but rumor has it you've been seen preparing and practicing your clog dancing. Are we going to see anything on a podium with some clogs anytime soon?
I will definitely quash that rumor. Won't be any dancing coming out of me. My artistic ability ends when the karaoke machine turns off. So I'm definitely a stand in one spot kind of person. Definitely no dancing, and certainly not on the podium.
Okay, well, maybe a clog jig then for us, just to kind of keep it exciting, eh?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, for in BMXing, as somebody that tries to call the BMX racing, I mean, it's all over in seconds, right? And milliseconds count in the sport. you seem like a pretty relaxed, chilled out individual. I mean, how do you cope with that? You know, the pressure, the pace. What do you use to get yourself through that?
It's kind of a mixture of things. I think, just trusting what you're doing, realizing that, when you stand up there, if you start to get kind of overwhelmed with the day or with the race or what's happening, it's worth realizing that um, in that moment you're going to produce your best if you just think about what you're actually doing, which if that's a gate start or if that's a great lap, then you've done plenty of those in the past. You know how to do it. You know how to do a gate start. It actually doesn't really make a difference that there's a big stand over there or that there's 7 other fast girls on the gate. Like, you know what you're doing, and taking in the atmosphere, realizing that it's a privilege to be here. It's an absolute dream, and I am living the dream, living my dream. So may as well kind of take a breath, smile, shake it out, and then get on and try and do something.
Oh, those are some great words of inspiration for many of those young riders coming up behind you, which is awesome. And um, I know. It seems like all my interview research has been around the Netherlands and not you, so I do want to apologise about that. But listen, stroopwafel. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Have you heard of such a food? Have you tried it? You want to give us a bit of a insight into what it may or may not taste like?
It has a very, very special place in my heart. At the moment, I'm staying with Laura Smulders, and she has to make sure that there's none in the house, because if there are some, they disappear very quickly, and she doesn't really get to taste many of them. Yeah, they're dangerous little creatures. They're 2 layers of very, very thin waffle, and then just
Yes.
a layer of sticky, kind of thick caramel in between. The perfect balance of smooth and crunchy.
Oh.
They're the best. I have only had the packaged supermarket ones so far, and that's enough to kind of make my knees wobble. But I've been told that this week at some stage I'm going to be taken to one of the markets to experience a fresh off the press stroop waffle. So yeah, the excitement keeps coming.
Hey, so obviously, you've mentioned you're still in the Netherlands. What's the plan? What are the travel plans from here, Megan?
Yeah, so as I say, very lucky. Laura's opened her home to me again this year, so I'm sticking out with her for another couple of weeks, train with her and the Dutch team, and just enjoy some more good weather and the awesome track and the team. And then I've got family based in Edinburgh, so I'll move over there in Scotland a couple of weeks before the Worlds, and then move to Glasgow 2 weeks before racing, and then straight into Worlds. And then afterwards, I'll go back to Edinburgh, kind of take my rest time with family, and then kind of straight back into the season. I'll fly straight from Edinburgh to Euro Round in Portugal at the start of September, and then from there head straight to Sarre-Arns in France a few weeks before the World Cup, race the World Cup, come back to the Netherlands for a week, and then head to Argentina for the final World Cups of the year. So yeah, packing it all in there.
Hey, listen, if you need someone to help carry your bike bag, I think I'm free. So don't hesitate. I know that sounds probably a bit creepy, but you don't ask, you don't get, right? Hey,
Yeah.
listen, so obviously a big itinerary ahead. Any specific goals for the rest of the? I mean, obviously you got the Worlds coming up in Scotland. I mean, who doesn't know about that? If you don't know about that, where have you been?
Yeah.
But any specific goals apart from obviously staying on the bike?
Nothing in particular. I think given the kind of couple of years that we have ahead, it's hard to put super high expectations anywhere, and I don't think there's much kind of value in doing that. So I think just keep trying to go really fast, keep trying to learn as much as possible. These other girls are racing at this level week in, week out from the beginning of the year, and they have been doing that for years prior as well. So us Kiwis are always a little bit behind the 8 ball. So just trying to play catch up a little bit, get that kind of volume and quality of racing in, and keep moving forward. Obviously, the big goal is kind of looking at the Olympics next year. So just trying to be in the best shape possible, both physically and mentally, to move towards that next year.
Fantastic. No, there's no doubt some more sound advice. Now, before we wrap this up, there's got to be one thing you're super excited about, right? I'm going to give you some hints. It's February. It's 2024. Any ideas yet, Megan?
Yeah, Valentine's is always a really cool day. I don't have anyone special to spend it with, but yeah, who knows?
Okay, so apart from Valentine's Day, and that was good. I like the way you think they're fast on your feet. Obviously, rounds 1 and 2 of the World Cup in home country next year. I mean, home track, right? I mean, that must be exciting.
It's insane, and it's crazy seeing it pop up on the calendar. When I'm making plans for the rest of the year, and to see it come up and see Rotorua, New Zealand, it's insane. And there's so much pride already just having it at home, and so I'm just absolutely speechless and lost for words for how incredible it is. And the club's done such a good job, and amazing effort from everyone between the club and BMX New Zealand, Cycling New Zealand to achieve that is huge. It's so good for the sport, and especially good for our elite riders. And amazing.
Nah, it's going to be awesome. I mean, and like you said, I mean, the club is a massive shout out to the volunteers there. I mean, they did a phenomenal job at O'Shea's earlier in the year, and no doubt they're going to put it on again in February. And I'm sure the whole of New Zealand's BMX community be right in behind them, prepared to give them that support. So looking forward to it. And hey, listen, again, this could be a bit awkward, but maybe you and me, Stroopwafel, Rotorua, February, over a coffee or something. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like a great deal to me.
Awesome. Hey, Megan, listen, thanks again. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us and all those in New Zealand watching. So big thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I've enjoyed it.